Welcome back, Defenders. Russia had a bad weekend. Russian Telegram channels are reporting that Ukraine launched 700 drones and missiles simultaneously into the territory of Russia. This was 2 nights ago. This is what the Russians have been doing to Ukraine for 3 years, and Ukraine now has the domestic production of drones and missiles to do the exact same thing to the Russians. We're going to find out how much the Russians enjoy having hundreds of drones launched into their territory on a near nightly basis. What did Ukraine hit? Ukrainian drone hits Russia's Tuapse tanker, triggering a major fire again. This is the oil terminal in Tuapse. This is on the Black Sea. It's south of Novorossiysk. And Ukraine has struck this numerous times, I think as recently as 3 weeks ago with a drone boat. But Russia still needs this oil terminal to get their oil out, and these tankers are still arriving, trying to fill up. So this was a massive coordinated strike to take this terminal offline, and these are the results. You can see the satellite image showing the terminal here where the tankers fill up, and it's clearly on fire. There are videos of the air defense in Tuapse going off. Let me share a little bit of this clip.
Да нет, тут прям над городом, там ты не увидишь ничего. Ебать, хуера с пулеметов. О!
And I'm going to pause the video, but I will link it down below if you want to see more. These are the results. You can see the terminal is on fire in 3 different locations. Here, here, and here. So this refinery or terminal was struck with numerous drones. This is the next day. The sun has risen, and 2 of the ships were still on fire, a tugboat and then one of the tankers. South of Tuapse, oil is clearly leaking into the Black Sea. This was taken by a resident of the Russian city of Gizildari, and she is claiming that there's a ton of oil now in the Black Sea because of this strike.
Бедная Гизельдере. Как не разлив, так нефть вся здесь.
Russia is making the Black Sea literally black. So we'll update the bingo board. This is the Tuapse refinery. I haven't seen any reports of any of the distillation towers or anything being on fire, but they struck the terminal, so I guess we're going to count that. It's a win. Ukrainian intelligence blows up 3 fuel lines of 400-kilometer Russian pipeline in the Moscow Oblast. A 400-kilometer pipeline capable of transporting 7.4 million tons of fuel annually to Russian forces is now out of operation after Ukrainian operatives executed a coordinated strike on all 3 lines in the Moscow Oblast. This led to a blackout in part of the city. This is the region where these pipelines were located. And this was an incredible operation. These are Ukrainian agents inside of Russia with explosives and the intelligence to knock these pipelines off. This is 1, 2, 3, and I'm guessing they're exposed because of this gulch or this stream. So Russia was trying to protect them because they have drone nets above them. But Ukrainian operatives just drove out to the location. I'm assuming they cut into the net. They then planted the explosives, and then they detonated them. There's a video. I'll link it down below. But this is the result. It led to a blackout in part of Moscow. I don't know how long this lasted, but it was only partial, and it was limited. But yeah, this is Russia's capital city going on year 4 of a war they started, and their capital city, parts of it, is without power. Other parts of the city had electricity disruptions. I'm guessing the flow of energy was irregular, and this led to lights flickering, kind of spooky on Halloween especially. It's going to get worse for Russia. Ukraine is going to continue striking energy and oil infrastructure throughout the winter. Neptune missiles hit Russian energy hubs in Bryansk and Oryol. This is Ukraine's Neptune missile. It's in mass production, and at the moment, Ukraine is using them to knock off thermal power plants in the border regions. So this is Oriel. This is what this thermal power plant looks like from satellite. And this is the oblast to the east of Bryansk and north of Kursk. Ukraine is currently going after the thermal power plants in all of the border regions. This will be the most disruptive to frontline Russian forces. And there's videos of the thermal power plants in Oriel being struck. I'll link them down below. This is the next day. This is a 750 kilovolt substation for the power plant, and it's still on fire. This is at least 12 hours later. Thermal power plant on fire in Russian-occupied Luhansk. Widespread power outage is being reported. Unfortunately, this is a Ukrainian power plant that the Russians are currently occupying in Luhansk, but because Russian forces are using this power and electricity, Ukraine has to go for it. So this is the thermal power plant in Luhansk. You can see the smokestacks. This is where smoke is supposed to be coming from, but you can clearly see 1, 2, 3 fires currently going at the thermal power plant. The region is currently in a blackout. In addition, Ukraine struck some more electrical substations. One of them was located south of Belgorod. In addition, these are also the reported substations that are being struck. We're not going to get pictures or videos because a lot of these substations are in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, this is what Russia has been doing to Ukraine for 3 years, and Ukraine's now paying them back, going after substations to cause blackouts. This is going to be costly and timely for the Russians to repair, and this is also just embarrassing. It's completely embarrassing. Year 4 of this war, Russia is choosing to continue this war. They could stop at any time. And now their major cities are going to be without power and heat this winter. According to Ukraine, they have carried out 160 strikes on Russian oil industry this year. Ukraine has targeted Russian oil sites throughout the war, but has sharply intensified attacks in recent months. This is a report from the head of security service, Vasily Malyuk, and he's reporting directly to President Zelensky. This is what he's saying. Since the beginning of the year, there have been nearly 160 successful strikes on Russian oil production and refining facilities. For September and October of this year alone, there were 20 facilities targeted, including 6 refineries, 2 oil terminals, 3 oil depots, and 9 pumping stations. What has this led to? It has caused a shortage of over 20% in the domestic market, a 37% downtime of refining capacities, as well as a fuel shortage in 57 regions of Russia, and a ban on gasoline exports until the end of the year. Oil production and refining accounts for 90% of the budget of the Russian Ministry of Defense. This is why going after pumping stations, oil terminals, oil depots, and oil refineries is so critical. This is how Russia's military funds itself. So here's a chart put together by Bloomberg. This shows Russia's fuel exports over the last 4 years. The black line is 2022, the magenta is 2023, the blue is 2024, and the yellow is this year, 2025. I'm guessing that exports, for some reason, expand in the wintertime and then retract in the summertime. You can see this over all 4 years. But 2025, for the month of October and September, these are 4-year lows, in addition to the price of oil today being also at a 4-year low. So Russia is exporting the lowest they have for the entire war, and they're getting the lowest price for their exports. This is going to be devastating for the Russian economy and the Russian military. And we're seeing the results here. Russia's economic growth slows for the 3rd straight quarter, according to Russia's own ministry data. Russia's economy has continued to lose momentum for the 3rd consecutive quarter. The ministry estimated that GDP grew at just 0.6% year over year, down from 1.1 in the 2nd quarter, 1.4 in the 1st quarter, and 4.5 in the final quarter of 2024. Overall, Russia's economy expanded by 1% in the first 9 months, 4 times slower than 4.3 recorded a year earlier. Even though the government is offering massive stimulus in defense spending, this is supposed to be a boom for the economy, they have a labor shortage. They don't have enough workers. In addition, with interest rates being so high, this is killing the civilian economy. Private businesses in Russia are all failing. Corporate debt is at unimaginable levels, as the Kremlin is ordering private companies to continue taking on debt to keep pumping out missiles and tanks and whatever the military needs. So this is Russia's plan to save themselves. Russia plans to issue debut sovereign yuan-denominated bonds, according to Reuters. This has been rumored for months, but it's finally happening. Russia is planning to issue its debut yuan-denominated bond on the local market this year, offering an investment option for the vast amounts of yuan liquidity accumulated by exporters and banks from Russian energy sales to China. 3 financial market sources said the finance ministry plans up to 4 issues for a combined amount of up to 400 billion rubles or 5 billion US, with maturities of between 3 and 10 years. If you think the Russian government will still be standing in 3 to 10 years, and you have a lot of Chinese money, maybe you'll buy these bonds. What's happening here is Russia can't issue debts in British pounds or euros or American dollars. Nobody wants to trade with them in those currencies. And nobody wants Russian rubles. Inflation is terrible. So Russia is trying to issue debt in Chinese yuan, and the Chinese yuan is still not really a global currency because the government of China controls it so stringently. A lot of foreign governments don't want to hold Chinese yuan. But Russia is desperate, and this is what they're going to do. So when Russian energy companies sell oil to China, China is paying for that oil in Chinese yuan. It's piling up in Russia, and yes, they can use Chinese currency to buy physical goods, FPV drones, whatever, from China. But the government wants this money, and if private companies buy these bonds, the Russian treasury will have the yuan, and then they can buy more stuff from China. This is a win-win for China, and this is just delaying the inevitable for Russia. I think Russia's going to default on all of this debt between the next 3 to 10 years. So, my guess is that these private Russian companies are not being given a choice. They're going to be told by the Kremlin, you have to buy these Chinese bonds so we get the money. Let's get back to the bad news. Nearly half of Russia's elite Panzer S-1 air defense systems have been destroyed. Ukrainian strikes exceed Russia's 30 per year production capacity for short-range air defense systems. So the Panzer S-1 is a short-range air defense system. Maximum range is only 20 kilometers. This is not like an S-300 or S-400. And it's very effective. It's very effective at shooting down Ukrainian drones. So Ukraine, for the last 2 or 3 months, really has been going hard against radars and air defense systems so that they can have more success with their 300, 400, 500 drone launches a night. I don't think Ukraine can do that all the time, but they are going to, I think, a couple times a month, try and overwhelm Russian air defense systems with their drone strikes. This is this same representative speaking to President Zelensky. This is what he said in this briefing about Panzers. The enemy has pretty strong air defense, let's be honest, and the best counter to our long-range drones is their Panzer. So from the start to the full-scale invasion until today, we've destroyed 48% of them. Of the enemy's Panzers. That's our priority right now. It's set by the president of Ukraine. The Russians produce 30 a year, so they've made possibly 100 since the war began. But our destruction rates exceeds their production. We're working on it. We'll keep you updated with the results through official channels after the fact. I see these videos every day. I have another one here. This isn't a Panzer, this is an OSA air defense system, but Ukraine seeks them out, finds them, sends out a drone, and then drops a grenade on it. That's all that's required to destroy an air defense system. Russia keeps making them. Ukraine keeps blowing them up. Okay, let's talk about the front lines in Pokrovsk. Ukrainian special forces make a helicopter landing near Pokrovsk in an operation led by General Budanov. The troops arrived by Black Hawk helicopter and targeted areas that Russian claims to hold. Ukraine's defense forces confirmed this to the Kyiv Post. This is General Syrskyi and this is General Budanov, and I'm guessing this is a map of the Pokrovsk area. Yes, Ukraine's highest levels of government are paying attention, and this is about holding as long as possible. Ukraine has been trading land for time for 4 years, waiting to weaken the Russians, waiting for the West to send more aid, waiting for the West to enact more sanctions. So, Syrskyi and the commands, they're doing what they can. But yes, the situation is pretty bad. Ukraine sent in special forces to try and retake some positions. I'm guessing this is so that either supplies can get in, or troops can rotate out, or they can just initiate a full evacuation. We don't know the details. I don't like seeing pictures and videos of Ukraine's military leadership making decisions, and we don't have all the information. I don't want to speculate why these special forces were sent in. This is, let me read you some analysis from Chuck. I think many of you are familiar with him. Footage of these insertions are circulating amid armchair open source intelligence debaters of whether special forces could stabilize flanks without mechanized enforcements. This was a raid, not a predicate for a counterattack. Overseen by General Budanov on the ground, these elite raids targeted Russian positions and command nodes in northern and eastern districts, aiming to disrupt infiltration and reclaim footholds. The video is online of the Black Hawk helicopters going in. This is right on the front lines in Pokrovsk. The special forces disperse, they get out of the helicopter's on the ground for maybe 5 seconds, and then it has to take off and get out of there before being spotted. Russia's claimed encirclement of Mirnorod collapses as Ukrainian special forces clear infiltrators. I honestly don't know what to say about the city, guys. I don't think Ukraine is going to hold it. They've been holding it basically for 1.5 years since Avdiivka fell. This was the next mid-sized town. I think the pre-war population was 40 or 50,000. But yes, Ukrainian defenders are still in this region. They're still holding, but they probably do need to withdraw. If Ukraine cannot stabilize this flank right here, and the main road, the supply lines are severed, then wounded soldiers can't be evacuated. Additional ammunition and FPV drones can't be brought in. So Ukraine is going to have to pull back, even out the front lines, and fall back to the next defensive line, and the Russians are just going to focus on Konstantinivka, then they're going to focus on Kramatorsk, then they're going to focus on Sloviansk. This turn in the road here could be another 3 years at the current rate the Russians are going. Ukraine shoots down 206 out of 223 Russian drones in an overnight attack on Ukraine's gas infrastructure. This is the good news, I guess. Ukraine's interception rate of Russian drones is extremely high, which is why Russia just sends as many as they can produce. In 2025 alone, Russia has launched 44,000 drones against Ukrainian cities. The interception rate is 86%. That's good. But what is 14% times 44,000? That is how many successful hits the Russians are getting with their stupid drones. The more concerning thing is the ballistic and cruise missiles. Russian missile strikes on Ukraine hit a 2.5-year high. Either Russia found a way to magically increase their production, or for some reason they're trying to use more of their missiles in October than they were using even a year ago. This is an alarming increase, but it's the interception rate. Only 56% of the 1,500 cruise and ballistic missiles launched by Russia were successfully intercepted by Ukraine. It's just very difficult with the air resources that Ukraine currently has. Now, I'm speculating that Russia is increasing their missile attacks because they want to destroy as much of Ukraine's energy infrastructure prior to winter. But I think Russia had the intelligence that these additional Patriots were showing up. This is President Zelensky announcing, I think 2 additional Patriot batteries have now arrived in Ukraine. Today, we can already say there is a good result for our air defense. Ukraine now has more Patriots. Plural. I thank Chancellor Merz, I thank Germany, and everyone who helps. Our agreements have been fulfilled. More Patriots are now in Ukraine and being put in operation. My speculation is maybe Russia was trying to surge missile attacks prior to these 2 Patriot systems being put online, because they know their success rate is going to go down. Ukraine still needs the missiles, though. They have the launchers, they have the crews. They still need to keep getting missiles from the United States. Russia targets Ukraine's rail network as drones hit Sumy high-rise, injuring at least 15. It wouldn't be a Russian drone attack without apartment buildings being targeted. This is an apartment building in Sumy. People were injured. In addition, Russia decided to blow up the Sumy train station. I can link this video down below, but this is what the train station in Sumy now looks like. In addition, Russia has now been targeting individual gas stations. Not gas infrastructure, like a single gas station. I've seen numerous videos in the last 2 weeks of just drones slamming into pumping stations. Russia thinks they're going to win this war by individually destroying every single gas station in Ukraine. They're pretty upset about their gas lines in Russia. One piece of good news here, Pentagon approves transfer of US Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. Now it's entirely up to Trump. I'm shocked. I didn't think the Pentagon would give this permission unless this is what Donald Trump wanted. But they independently confirmed with CNN. The Pentagon has given the White House the green light to provide Ukraine with long-range Tomahawk missiles after assessing that it would not negatively impact US stockpiles, leaving the final political decision up to Trump. I don't like this because this just gives Trump, in his mind, leverage. This is now something he can dangle in front of Ukraine. Like President Zelensky in Ukraine, do this for me, and then maybe I'll approve Tomahawks for you. Or he can use this as leverage with the Russians and say, Putin, give me something, do something I want, otherwise I'll give Tomahawks to Ukraine. You can kind of see where the problem is here. Trump is not committed to helping Ukraine or defeating Russia. He is 100% transactional in every decision he makes, and he's just looking to benefit himself. So I hope the Russians do something stupid, and this makes Trump angry, and then he decides to approve these Tomahawks for Ukraine. It wouldn't be an incredible amount. It would be like 50 or 100 possibly. But yes, Ukraine wants them, and they will use them. Concerning my governments, Trump and MAGA, I don't understand how the Russians can get away with threatening to kill Americans every day on Kremlin State TV. Nothing is said on Kremlin State TV without the approval of the Kremlin. And every day now, they threaten to kill millions of Americans. And in my national media, it's just crickets. I don't understand. I see these clips. Why does no one in America except me talk about this? But this is what they said on Kremlin State TV yesterday. Theoretically speaking, a squadron of 18 Poseidons would completely destroy the very notion of the United States as a maritime civilization. In this case, all bases, all major port cities, and all infrastructure within a zone of approximately 30 to 40 kilometers would be destroyed. This is Putin's new wonder weapon, a nuclear torpedo that can create a radioactive tsunami that can then flood entire coastlines. These are the Russians saying that with 18 of their Poseidon nuclear torpedoes, they could destroy every American city within 40 kilometers of a coastline. And mind you, 75% of the US population lives in that zone, including the White House in Mar-a-Lago. Moreover, I repeat, the Americans simply have no physical means to repel these strikes. That is, no aircraft carriers, no super-secret US submarine can do anything about it. Because no torpedo can catch up with our torpedo, they simply don't have such speed. This is all stupid wonder weapon talk, but they are threatening to kill 100 million Americans. And there's no response from American media or my government. I don't get it, guys. Let's get to the good news for Ukraine. Canada to seize sanctioned AN-124 stuck in Toronto for 4 years now. This is a Russian plane that's been sitting there for a while, and Canada decided to finally seize it, and they're going to give it to Ukraine. Thank you so much, Canada. Canada also fast-tracks $10 million in emergency payments as Russia intensifies their strikes. Thank you so much, Canada. New Zealand hits Russian oil shadow fleet with 65 new sanctions. Thank you so much, New Zealand. Estonia and Ireland invest in a hospital renovation and medical training. 1.87 million, but thank you so much, Ireland and Estonia. The Netherlands allocates 10 million to support cybersecurity in Ukraine. Thank you so much, the fantastic Dutch. Final video is from President Zelensky. Let me read for you what this event was. Every defender of Ukraine is indeed a defender of life. Everyone holding our positions on the front line is, by doing so, protecting our entire state. And wherever our Ukrainian positions are truly strong, life always prevails. I presented the orders of the Golden Star and other state awards to the service members of Ukraine's defense forces, and handed out awards to the families of our heroes who were conferred this title posthumously. I want to share with you guys the last minute of silence for the fallen heroes of Ukraine.
Дякую. Дякуємо їм, дякуємо вам. Слава Україні!
Continue supporting Ukraine. Russia will be defeated. That's all for this update video. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support the channel. Comments and questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, keep defending the truth. Keep defending democracy.